So we want to build a community, a developmental approach to shaping positive, hopeful, inclusive attitudes. That's why we call it an inclusion revolution.
Our whole industry is based on collaboration, and we do a lot of this today, and it's all about also making sure that programs like yourselves have the network that's out there, because I think the challenge for all of us right now is we're all in a new world. So Priyanka, so coming off the springboard of this, and now that everyone is probably embracing video and Zoom and all these new media, what have you done to sort of kind of make this sort of a mainstay, so that the next time there's some sort of black spot on the earth, you get to keep going? What's the plan?
Yeah. Thanks, Bill, for that. Yeah, it's a great point. We do want it to be a mainstay. We do want to integrate what we've learned from this COVID period into our work every day. So how do we embrace what we've been doing, which was this scrappy, get on Zoom and have a competition or train with your coach, and bring that into the future with the way we want to retain and recruit coaches and athletes and participants and volunteers, right? So telling that athlete story is really important, using video to do that, enabling streaming for some of our major events or some of our local competitions so people can attend in person, or if they can't attend in person, they can attend virtually. We're thinking about athlete and coaches hubs. How do we take those, mountains of training courses and things that we put out there and make that available centrally so we can onboard our athletes quicker, have them understand, how to work with a coach, how to be part of their community, what are the opportunities for volunteers to come in and either volunteer in person or virtually. I think we're going to be open to however a volunteer wants to engage with us. So we're also looking at building out a virtual university for health, and this is a really important project for us. So we're thinking about the healthcare workforce as one of those constituencies that get to encounter our parents and our caregivers and our athletes at the moment of diagnosis. So how do we make sure they're getting adequate training so they know how to work with these families and caregivers? And we think virtual is a perfect way to do that, to provide continuing education credits. We've seen universities embrace online learning for a long time. I see that opportunity, of course, to take advantage of platforms and technologies that provide learning management. We also have, we're actually dabbling in the world of esports. This is another area that's quite popular in your region, as you can imagine. And I happen to be a gamer, much to everybody's chagrin. But what that really means is that thinking about the virtual world and the metaverse as a place that can be inclusive. So you want to send that message to all communities and where our youth are today. They're on their phones, they're in these places, they're wearing their virtual reality headsets. I mean, why don't we think down that path?
Let's talk about, so you got 192 countries. Where are so when I'm talking to our CEOs of all these telcos around the world, what are countries that you're trying to focus on right now and grow aggressively, for example, outside the United States, that you'd love to have, someone, put their arm around you and say, hey, I'm going to help you on your network and help you kind of build out your capabilities?
Yeah, well, we're not unlike most organizations. Our biggest countries are China and India, and then the United States is behind them in terms of the number of athletes who participate. But both are small compared to the capacity. The moment of diagnosis is something we find to be a global universal experience in our community. It's the moment at which a mom or a dad finds out that their child has special needs. And it's almost invariably a moment of enormous trauma and sadness. The world changes. You thought you were going in one direction, all of a sudden you're going in a different one. For most people, it's a moment where almost time seems to stop. In moments like this, our community, it transcends cultural boundaries. You can be in Hong Kong or you can be in Hialeah, Florida.
Yeah.
We want to be there for you to say, no matter what you're being told, we can't wait to meet your child. We're here. We're ready. Our joy in life is to find chances to meet, play with, and celebrate your child. Can't change the world in terms of the medical diagnosis, but we think it can change the world. So, our priority countries you asked about, are all the ones you'd expect. We'll have World Games in Germany next year. So Germany is very important. Central Europe, the large European economies, Germany, France, the UK, Italy, Spain, are very important to us. Places where there have been significant refugee challenges are very important to us. We have a very significant effort with refugees, both those who have intellectual challenges and those who don't. So the Poland-Ukraine border, the migrations in the Central America, these are places of extreme poverty, extreme adversity. We want to be there for those communities. So if it sounds like we're trying to do a lot, the answer is yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Yeah, and Bill, to build on what Tim was saying about being there for families, we're actually in the middle of building an app project. So it's an app, a mobile app it's called For Young Athletes. This is a program we have worldwide for athletes between the age of 2 and 7, really teaching them about mobility and kind of understanding their milestones depending on their condition. And so that's really what the app is intended to do. It's to help those families and caretakers understand that condition better, meet other family members, be able to chat and connect online, find out where does your child go to school, what caregiver should I hire, to take care of my child. This connection for those families is huge. And when we talk to them, just like you need to, find out what do they need, they say we need to be able to talk to each other. That's really, really important. So we said, digital is the best way to do that.
So we want to build a community, a developmental approach to shaping positive, hopeful, inclusive attitudes. That's why we call it an inclusion revolution. We're going to unfortunately have to spend a lot more time trying to undo prejudice and discrimination. That's not going to go away. But the movement for people with intellectual disabilities today is also a movement from them. And we think that this is a very powerful tool for every family. I think to me, it's the urgency of our time. So who's going to be the teachers of the inclusion revolution? I would argue, and for some people, this is somewhat surprising, I would argue that the teachers are people with intellectual disabilities. They're not just the students of that lesson, they're the teachers of it. The quicker and sooner we can get them into contact with their peers and promote this developmental approach, I think the better.
I think your message is fantastic. And how can we help you as a community of CEOs and senior executives? What can we do to help you? Besides, obviously, Priyanka, we could go over to her and say, all right, we'll help you on building your network. But how can we as companies start to help with your Special Olympics? And how do we make you go from 5 million athletes to 100, right, over the next decade, right? What do we need to do to help you do that?